Hey guys, Lorena Magana here with New Filmmakers Los Angeles. Today, I'm talking to documentary filmmaker Tony D'Annunzio about his new film, Louder Than Love, the Grande Ballroom story. Let's take a look at a clip from the film.
Federal troops were on their way by...
We had some of our equipment down there. And we thought, oh my God, they want to get the Grande. We got down to Joy Road and Livernois, and now we're in Detroit, and they didn't touch the Grande. Burned all around us, across the street, up and down. Didn't touch the Grande at all. And all of a sudden, two little black youngsters come running by. What are you boys doing? How come you're not burning down the Grande? And they looked at him and said, they got music there, man.
Tony, why don't you give our viewers a brief synopsis of your film?
It's called Louder Than Love. It's the story of the Grande Ballroom. It was a ballroom in Detroit. I'd like to think the story's the greatest untold story in rock and roll history. It's a ballroom that was built in the late 20s, but in the mid-60s it became the epicenter for Detroit rock and roll. Some incredible bands like MC5, Iggy Pop and the Stooges, Alice Cooper, Ted Nugent, the list goes on, all got their start there. It was the first place in America for a lot of great English bands to play. And the film speaks to that. It talks about the rock and roll. It talks about the culture that was brought out from there. It talks about the poster art that started. And so it's, I thought it was originally going to be a music documentary, but it turned more into a cultural piece. And I'm very proud of what came out of it.
How did you come up with the concept for your documentary?
I'm born and raised in Detroit. Was born in '66. The years that I was kind of going after were from '66 to '72, so I wasn't of age to go there. But as a Detroiter and a music fan, you know about the history of this place. It's kind of on par with the Fillmore, Avalon Ballroom, and places of that nature. So you grow up and you hear these stories of all these great bands that played there and the stuff that went on there. And it was kind of the beginning of a lot of what we nowadays think of as a rock and roll concert, with the light shows began there, the poster arts began there, the ability for the audience to be part of the concert experience was started there. So it was kind of in my DNA growing up, and I just, this is my first film, my first feature full-length doc, and I knew that in doing something like this, I had to be enthralled by the subject, and I figured if I'm going to be investing my time into this, it better be something I love. And so I love Detroit, and I love music.
How did you and Carl Rausch end up working together on this film?
Carl Rausch, wow. Carl is a creative genius. He works in the Detroit area at one of the premier post-production post house, national commercials and such. I've been in the business for over 20 years. At the 20-year mark, I kind of had a come to Jesus moment where I wanted to do this film. I think we all get in the business to fulfill kind of a dream. I think everyone has a song that they want to get produced. They have a book they want to get out there. They might have a film that they want to get made. And during this 20 years, I've been part of great stuff, but I decided, you know, it's time to make this documentary. And with all the connections I have in Detroit, I had never met Carl personally. The opportunity came up for me to meet with him, and I walked into his edit house, and his room was filled full of albums. So we had this instant connection with music, and he isn't from Detroit originally. He didn't know the story. So I started bringing over tapes and ideas, and you know, he started taking that piece of coal and turning it into a diamond. So, you know, he's a wonderful guy. We've become friends over the last 5 years because of it, and you know, I think that we worked well together. I think the ideas that he brought and the creative edge that he has to it have made this film really what it is.
Were you granted access very easily to these artists for the interviews that you did during your filming?
To your point, the film has, you know, some pretty iconic people in it, you know. I mean, B.B. King, Roger Daltrey, Alice Cooper, Don Was, Wayne Kramer, Ted Nugent, you know, so there was a bit of how is this going to come about, and I did something that I don't know if other filmmakers have ever done. I called them up and asked them if they wanted to be in my movie, and the story resonated with them. Their experiences from the Grandy meant enough that they wanted to be part of it, and so it made it that much easier. This is my first film, and it's all been self-produced, self-funded, so I worked on a very tight no budget for this, and I waited for people to come through the Detroit area to interview them. So with the filmmaking experience, I also had to take in consideration these people's tour schedules. So I would contact them when I'd find out their tour schedule. I'd reach out to their publicists or their management and tell them the story.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.